How good is that? Families fishing. Now, a lot of people complain about travelling to work, peak hour traffic, congestion, traffic lights, all that not so fun stuff. In my opinion, this is the only way to travel to the office. This is the Great Lakes Caravan Park, Tuncurry, New South Wales. And I'm about to go fishing with Brett Wilson. When it comes to Squidgy, he's the man and he's going to show me this beautiful part of Australia. Morning, Bretto.
Morning, mate.
It's a beautiful day.
These oyster farms are probably responsible for the strength of this fishery because it's such a nursery and for all the smaller species and all the babies, a breeding ground, and it gives it somewhere to go. So it's probably a reason why this place has fished so well for such a long period of time.
There's certainly some fish here and fishermen everywhere. It's really good to see. You said earlier, time and tide waits for no man.
That's right, mate.
Well, for the first time ever, we're early. What are we going to do?
Mate, well, I've got something pretty special I want to show you. Actually, it's I'll just wait till we get there, but I've got something. We've got an hour and a kill, mate, so let's go and kill it, eh?
Let's go kill an hour.
Right.
No better way. Look at him! I think this is why they call it fishing and not catching.
What size is that?
Oh, what is it?
Shovel nose.
Big shovel nose.
Well, I hope it's not a flathead, because if it's a
If it
flathead,
is, I'm
it's 2
scared.
metres long.
That is just wrong. We're just casting these little lures across the top of these deep holes, and there are literally at times up to 10 whiting coming out. There's sand whiting, and believe it or not, they're chasing this little Eba popper from Yozuri. It is just wrong. I've never seen anything like it. 10 whiting at a time. I'm too excited. I don't know where to cast. Yep, got him?
Yes.
Well done, mate. Finally. The old whiting have outsmarted us till now.
And I got him out of that hole.
Oh, and I've got about 6 on mine.
Oh,
Come on,
look
eat it. Eat it. Come on, eat it. Oh, I pulled it away from him. Come on. No. Mate, look at them all.
Now,
Oh, Brett, you are a talented man.
I've caught myself as well.
So, Brett, one question I have.
Yes.
How long have you been fishing, mate? And does your husband fish?
Now, I was going to say that they actually eat the popper, but I've caught this one in the tail. But that probably goes to show you how aggressive they are now.
And that was the rare pants whiting.
Yeah, that's a yellowfin whiting or sand whiting, and a little bit different to your King George, obviously.
Yep.
Nowhere near as big, but when you catch one and you hold on to it, you'll feel how strong they actually are. You can see the current's really ripping here, so you know they actually get quite strong and quite fit from living in this current.
Legal size?
27 in New South Wales.
And he'd be what, 20? He'd be close?
No, it'd be about 23.
What if we stood on him?
Not in the rules.
All good, mate. Well, that is gold, and how good is a fishery? We're just killing a bit of time, as Brett said. I think we've had 20 casts, we've had up to 10 fish following the popper, and I had half a dozen coming in then. This is quality
And
fishing.
you know what?
What?
Good spots on that side. We haven't even hit it yet.
Brett, let me just say, I love your work. He's a jumper, and you said some fishermen jumping out of the water, mate?
Yeah, I
What's
don't
the
know
go?
what. I've got no idea.
Oh, yep.
Oh, yes!
Oh!
Out of that hole again.
And he come off too. How good is that, mate? You got
Very
fish
good.
up, I'm dropping fish. Look at them, they're all over my popper again here after it fell out. What an unbelievable fishery.
Yeah, it's not bad, is it?
It is just
not
too
bad.
good. And they're beautiful little fish, aren't they?
Yeah, very nice. Very
Now,
fit.
That one looks like a little silver whiting that we'd use for snapperbait back home.
Yeah, different species altogether. Yeah, this is yellowfin sand whiting.
Yes!
Oh, I told you they're jumping.
He's a jumper!
Look at a barra.
How good is that? I know I keep saying it, Brett, I just can't believe. These are fantastic fish. Look at a few barrel rolls.
He's not a bad fish, actually.
He's a nice fish. and he's actually doing the big crocodile rock barrel roll. What a beautiful fish, and he's still going, look at that.
Yep, I'm on too.
That is just wrong town. Look at these beautiful, beautiful whiting. And he's got a very, very thick back. This one, he's a nice fish. I'll just scoop him up. Look at that.
That's a beautiful fish.
He's a nice fish, isn't he, mate? Well, I wasn't quick, Bretto, but I got a good one. Come on, mate. And you can see, I'm just going to try and grab him. He's a slimy little sucker. You can see he actually is eating that popper. There's the treble hook in the popper. I'll just leave him there. There's the treble hook in his mouth. Front hook out, and he's actually come up and swallowed that, assuming it's a prawn. You can see they're actually eating the popper. That treble is right in his gob. I think that they think it might be a prawn. A few toots from people going past, and Brett, let me just say, I work on the quality, not quantity factor. That's a horse, mate.
He's all right, isn't he? But that just goes to show you, he has actually eaten that popper as well.
That is just wrong town.
Whiting on surface lures, who would have thought?
Look, mine's all right, mate, but I'm not too sure about yours.
So how was that for killing time Tuncurry style, mate?
It's just so cool to see 10 whiting come up, hit the lure, look at the lure, and then we go over to the sand holes and you actually see whiting just sitting on the bottom in the tide.
Yep.
Do we have to go?
Yeah, we do, mate. If we want to catch these flatties, we do.
You're a tough man.
Let's go.
And I had a feeling you might come back too.
Yep, I got one too.
Ah,
Double hook up.
we work as a beautiful team.
We do.
Laurel and Hardy, I'm tipping. Oh, he's a nice little frog, isn't he?
Yeah.
They are great fish. And I have to say, mate,
Yep,
what fantastic fish flathead are for beginners.
they are.
He's a nice one, that one.
They're the fish.
Because he just come through. I felt him the first time. I knew he'd be there, lifted, and bang.
Yep.
Just bring him up next to mine. He's a beautiful fish, mate. Now, the average fish through here?
They're probably the one on the left.
Yep.
They're both very average for here, but the bigger ones are very, very standard size. There are some very, very big lizards in this system.
They are just beautiful fish.
That's a standard size. And this time of year, these little blokes are sitting around the big females, so there's every chance in the world.
Sensational, mate. Look at them for a pigeon pair of beautiful flathead. And mate, they just love squidgies, don't they?
They do, look at that. And I think you talk about plastics and you talk about squidgies and
Come here, mate. Come here.
And one of the major advantages of using soft plastics on flatties would have to be where you hook them up.
Have you been handling flathead long, Brett?
Most of my life, unfortunately. But you can see yours is right in the corner of the mouth there, and mine's very, very similar. You very rarely gut hook a flathead like you do with bait. So the survival rate when you release them is a lot higher. It's always in the corner of the jaw and the roof of the mouth. So.
Well, that's what we want. We want to be able to let some of these fish go, but in saying that, I want to take some home for dinner too.
Why not? This is actually the perfect table fish size. Those big ones are just no good. That is perfect.
Mate, he'd be plate size, but I need to buy a bigger plate. Oh, and he's dropped it too.
Careless?
Careless Whispers, mate. George Michael, 1980, I can't remember.
Oh, yes.
Ah,
It's all happening.
Stuck on You, I can't remember his name, mate. You started it.
I did. I got one of those little sandy coloured fellas.
Look at the colouring.
Yeah. You see they got that beautiful blue bit in the tail?
Yep. There must be a lot of fish in here, mate, because we're
There
basically
is.
getting a hit a cast.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, yes!
Sorry, paws on.
As I said, a hit a cast.
Yep. Well, that's probably got to be four or five fish in 5 throws, mate. So.
And I suppose you just got to keep working through them, Brett, hoping you get a bigger one. This one's got a little bit of go to it, actually. He's got his head down. What's going on here? What is going on here? There's a bit of weight, and he's coming up in the current.
Is the net required, Paul?
I think it might be, mate. He hasn't done a lot. I'm just going to back that drag off a bit.
That's a typical trait of a flathead, actually, especially a big flathead. They can, especially.
You know what I've done? I've hooked him in the side, I reckon.
Okay, so he's coming up like a kite.
And he's actually got, look at that. I'll just lift him out. He's actually been hooked in the side. And what happens is the flathead, they lay on the bottom like this to feed, and the wriggler actually bounces up off the bottom and down. I've seen a flathead swim 10 metres to catch a bait, and he's obviously come over to grab it. Now, look at the colours on that, those bars. And bring this fish up next to me here, drop it on the mat. Look at the difference. These two fish have come off exactly the same bottom. Oh, he's flopping around, and look at the difference in coloration there. Yep. Same species of fish?
Yep, exactly the same as both dusky flathead, yep.
Just different habitat?
Yep.
Look at that, that is just unbelievable.
And you can see all those little fluorescent dots there, they're all lit up. Bit excited.
A bit?
Yeah.
I'm extremely excited. So how do you grab them, mate? Seriously?
How do you grab them?
Yep.
Not like that.
Have you been handling flathead long as I asked earlier? Seriously, the reason we're playing around, they are full of spikes. You can see this dorsal fin here. Look at this. That is covered in spikes. Just absolutely covered. It's a perler. Looks a bit like a kite. That goes down. There's some massive ones at the back of the head here. It's not nice at all.
Really large ones right there.
Now, I don't want to get spiked, so I'm going to use this unique tool. These see the flathead very well, my spotters, but they also do a perfect release. How's that? Oh, a bit slimy on the left.
Okay, there's a very good reason why we're pretty much getting a fisher cast here at the minute. If you look up ahead of me here, as the tide's coming out, you can see this definite current line here behind me. And what happens is there's a big section of slower water here behind us. And because flathead are an ambush predator, they're sitting flat on the bottom in that slower water, waiting for the food to come past them, and they're pouncing out on it. Some guys in front of us here are sitting in the faster water and they're not getting anything at all because they're not where the food is. The food's coming down this way, seeking refuge in the slower water, and the flatties are just coming out and grabbing it. Not only that, over to my right here, there's a big set of oyster leases. So as the tide falls and the water drains out of those leases, so does all the crustaceans and all the small bait fish. So the flatties are waiting on this deeper edge here and they're grabbing all those things as well. So that's a perfect ambush place for them, and it's a perfect ambush place for us as well.
Just this technique, it's about letting it hit the bottom and, oh, I was gonna run you through the technique, but I didn't get a chance. These fish are so thick, and I just heard Brett talking about calm water. This feels like a good one too. So I snuck down the back and I saw a really nice patch of calm water out the back there, and this thing has literally hit the bottom. There's some serious weight here. I don't know if you can see it, but just look at the bend in this new dual rod. It is a serious lot of weight. And this normally means a better fish because he's getting his head down the current. If you imagine the shape of a flathead, they tend to sort of act like a paravane and go down. I might need the net, Brett, because this thing is having a crack. I was listening to you. I was getting those tips and advice. I saw that bit of calm water there.
Yeah, it is very special. I mean,
whoa.
It is a very special part of flathead fishing. It's actually not just
he's having a go.
Casting and retrieving. You do have to cast to the right area. So he's a good fish, mate.
He's a nice fish.
Very nice. I've been chasing.
Look at that.
Look at the colour of that.
That is just beautiful. Slip him in the net.
Beautiful.
Mate, what I wouldn't mind doing, if you get a chance, is grab the brag mat, just because I wouldn't mind seeing how big these fish are. Not that I want to brag about it, but it's just a fantastic measuring tool. I don't know what the legal size is here. Brett will tell us in a second, but I'd just like to see how big this fish is because he said it's a better size fish. And to me, that is just a beautiful example of a flathead.
Here you go, mate. There's a help.
Thank you, that will help. I'm going to get him in the lip grip. And I just thought I'd put this fish on the brag mat, mate, because I'd like to know how big it is. It's easy to speculate. Now, why are you wetting it?
Just to protect the fish so he doesn't lose any slime, and it's a good reason with those lip grippers as well. Basically, you can handle a fish without touching it at all.
Well, that always helps. This fish is just on 49 centimetres on his bottom lip, and I assume that's well above legal size?
Well above. It's actually 36 centimetres here in New South Wales. Used to be 33, and then they realised that they weren't getting an opportunity to reach sexual maturity at 34, 35, so it just gives them the opportunity to do so. And then we can keep them, and it's one fish over 70 centimetres per person.
Sensational. Your old man is very partial to feed a flathead?
Absolutely. Not today though. Sorry, Dad.
Tough break, Dad. This one's going back. Brett, if you could just do me a favour and get that hook out. He's swapped. Well done, mate.
Straight out, beautiful.
And you see I'm supporting the belly?
Which is very important, mate. I mean, obviously this time of year the fish do have a lot of roe inside them, and they don't have that water or that bottom to support them, and if you hold them up vertically, their guts can come down and they just crush themselves and compress on.
Well, this fish is going back. What a beautiful, beautiful fish. I love flathead fishing, and if your kids want to get into fishing, think about targeting flathead, because look at that. That is a beautiful fish. They're very quick, massive pectoral fins, and I'll just pop the old grip free, and you watch that fish disappear. Right under the E-tech, and away she goes. That is a nice fish.
Now, I was talking about those little holes.
I was actually...
You're just about to lift it up.
And I was just trying to think, oh, that plastic looks good in the water. He's hit it right there. And how's that blue tail you mentioned earlier?
Yeah, it's awesome.
Oh, a few head shakes. That is so cool. He's not a monster, but how good's that?
Awesome. They're the ones.
That is just so cool. That fish is full of beans because I just pulled him straight out. And I just love my flathead fishing. They are so good. It doesn't matter if you're in Victoria or even, believe it or not, the Northern Territory, they've still got their flathead. Brett was saying earlier, you went up to Hinchinbrook, mate. First cast flathead.
Yes, that's it. Actually caught one in Weeper 3 weeks ago, so they're all over the place.
Great all-round species.
Like all forms of lure fishing, the retrieve is very important when you're fishing for flathead with soft plastics. And basically, I just cast out in the area where I want to fish. Now I'm using brightly coloured braided line, and the main reason for that is I'm watching that line and I can see my lure sinking. Once my braided line has fallen slack, I know that my lure's on the bottom, which is very important for flathead fishing. They're a bottom species, and if you're not on the bottom, you're not in the game. Now once my lure's hit the bottom, it's just a simple matter of twitching the rod tip up like that and letting it flutter back down. And that lure's going to jump up and flutter back down. Take up the slack a little bit, twitch, again, let that lure sink down. You can even do a double twitch if you wish. 99% of the times the flatty's going to hit that lure on the flutter back down. So I fish by sight a lot, and what I mean is I watch that line, and if you see your line kick like that, you know a flathead's just come up and grab it. Now a misconception with lure fishing is people think that fish hook themselves, and they don't. When you're fishing with lures, it's the same when you're fishing with bait. If you get a bite, you must strike. Flatties are an implosion feeder. The inside of their mouth is extremely hard, so you need to strike, and you need to strike hard to set the hook. And you just do that all the way back to the boat, and then cast in a different area again, and you'll cover so much more area with a plastic than you will with a bait. Yep. And there you go. That's how easy it is. Just lift it up off the bottom, let it sink down in between your twitches, watch your line.
He's having a go. Oh, what is it? No way. Yes. Look, that is wrong. That's
it is a bloodworm wriggler.
It is a bloodworm wriggler. Look at that. How good is that? That would be my first whiting on a soft plastic. I've caught them on soft plastics, but on a paternoster rig. There we go. I've caught them on soft plastics on a paternoster rig, but I've never caught a whiting bouncing a plastic across the bottom fishing traditional plastic techniques. That is another first. That's my second first today because that was my first whiting on a popper.
You're all over it.
You beauty. Yep. Oh, not a big one, Brett, but I'll still take it. There he comes. Oh, they get that head out of the water and like splashing around, don't they?
Yep. That's how they shake the hook too. Now
that is not a monster by any standards, and how are some of the flathead photos we saw at the van park? How big are those fish?
Yeah, they're way up there, mate, near the metre mark.
A metre flathead, it would look like a hunk of 4x2, wouldn't it?
It certainly does, mate.
With a head.
Yeah, with a head.
Now Tuncurry means?
Plenty fish.
Well, I think it's fair to say it lived up to its name today because it was the land of many fish and only took us a few hours. What a day's fishing. Yeah,
it's good fun, isn't it?
Do you reckon people might go out and buy a few poppers and some squidgies and catch a few fish?
Oh, mate, they should if they're smart fishermen, that's for sure. It's a lot easier than what a lot of people think.
It has just been insane. Thanks to my friends at Qantas Link. I might put a few flatty fillets in the freezer for you. He's actually changed the colour since he was in the water to just popping out of the water. He's in the water, he had those beautiful spots on him. And as soon as he's come out, he's actually on a darker colour, mate.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you can actually tell, but we're losing a little bit of light. It's getting late in the day, mate, but a 3-hour session. Have you been holding fish long? I'll just ask again. A 3-hour session at Tuncurry, and I think I've stepped back into about 1979, mate, because I reckon we've gone back 30 years, because this is how you imagine fishing would have been 30 years ago.
Yeah, and that's exactly how it was when I was a kid too. Hasn't changed a lot.
Unbelievable. Flathead at Tuncurry, Brett Wilson, Paul Worsling. What a cracker day in the water, and I must say thank you.
You're more than welcome, mate.